Hi guys, welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be walking through an in-depth guide on tuning in Cosmic Break Universal. This video will be going in detail all of the fine information behind tuning, from choosing the correct tunes for your bot, to getting the materials required for these tunes. There's going to be a lot to cover. Now, before we dive into this, I just want to let you know that all the information contained here is current and relevant as of the release of this video. There may be stipulations or updates in the future that may change how some of this information works. Without further delay, let's dive right into it. First and foremost, tuning a bot is a very large part of what you can do to make your bot stronger. Unlike simply leveling it up and taking cards, tuning allows you to directly improve the performance of your bot based on what you tune it up with. Tuning gives you a lot of freedom on customizing your bot. Some bots are more or less locked to one role, like this Vanguard Fencer. Other bots, like Aquila, are able to be customized and tuned to perform several different roles, depending on what you want. I will use my Shine OX Road as a live demonstration to tuning, since she is currently a partially completed project of mine. Before we can truly begin talking about how to tune a bot, we need to understand what cost and capacity are. Cost is how much space all of the things you have on your bot are taking. Capacity is the limit of how much you can put on your bot. Once you reach the capacity limit, you can't put on anything more that will make the bot go over capacity. This, in effect, directly ties into tunes, as each tune you can do has a cost associated with it. Generally speaking, higher level tunes will cost you more capacity to install. There are ways to be efficient with your tuning, which I will go into detail about later in the video. Let's start familiarizing ourselves with the tuning interface. To start, simply find one of these tall pots with green on the side. Right-clicking it will bring up the tune interface, which is where the magic happens. Click on a robot, then a part you want to install a tune on. Looking at the list of tunes, there's quite a variety. Most of the tunes are fairly basic and easy to identify. Some increase your robot's combat abilities, while others will increase their movement abilities. There are also tunes available to weapons too, depending on whether it's a main weapon, which is red, or a sub-weapon, which is blue. Different tunes will be available to you. Both types have similar choices for tunes. You can increase the damage they do, how much range and speed they have, among other things. It's very important you choose the correct tunes you want your bot to have for your build. This way you can efficiently min-max your builds. Now that we've covered the basics, it's time to actually get involved with the deeper side of tuning. Let's talk efficiency. There are a lot of different ways to go about tuning, but there are a few key things to keep in mind while you're planning out your tunes. Firstly, as a general rule, high tunes are almost always going to be your go-to tunes. This is because they give you the most amount of beneficial stats with the least cost for beta and gamma variants. For this example, I will use a high-tech gamma tune. I want to do more damage with her gun, and I'm not using melee or flying, so these two stats being lowered will not affect me in this situation. On the final screen, you have the option to use Harmonics to increase the success rate. You can either drag them or double-click them to use them for your tune. Harmonics can be bought in the item shop for varying prices. Let's see if it succeeds. Unfortunately, it didn't succeed. Luckily, we have enough materials to try it again. Later on in the video, I will go over different ways you can acquire different materials. For now, I'm going to try the same tune again, but without Harmonics, as my UC is starting to run low. Obviously, normally you want to use two Harmonics on every tune so you don't waste materials. This time we were lucky. Now we're 2 points higher in tech for just 5 cost. Moving on, I want to briefly go over important information about the stats you see in-game, and what breakpoints are. Referencing my Aquila build, you may have noticed that I have 0 STR and 1 WLK. These are not accidental, but intentional. Having 0 STR or 0 TEC is not detrimental to most builds. It simply means your wonder bits will have low health and only last about 10 seconds. On the flip side, having either 0 WLK or FLY is extremely detrimental to any build. You should always Always keep at least one of these stats. This is because your mobility is nearly non-existent with these stats at 0, and jumping/landing takes twice as long to complete, which leaves you extremely vulnerable to enemies. Compare what you just saw at 0 WLK to 1. You'll very quickly see that reaching maximum altitude is done nearly twice as fast. Okay, enough about the negatives. What about breakpoints? A breakpoint is a certain point where the performance of your bot is improved enough to be noticeable, and is usually a meta-defining number. Breakpoints differ slightly depending on the type of unit you are playing as. For example, the walk breakpoints for land units are slightly lower compared to other types of robots. We'll use this cheat sheet to explain a little bit more about why you want to meet these breakpoints. What you're looking at is a graph showing the various breakpoints for units using the Boost Run cartridge. The first number of each square is a robot's walk. The second one, their fly. Ideally, you'll want to try and reach the very first row of each color. For example, 38 walk and 10 fly pushes you into red. Meanwhile, 40 walk and 17 fly pushes you into purple. The reason you want the bare minimum of each color you want to be in is because going between these numbers offers little to no benefit to your bot, and is thus wasted cost. Cost is finite, and you can only have so much before you reach the limit, as explained earlier. This is why understanding and obtaining stat breakpoints is so critical to building a successful robot. I will leave different stat breakpoints for mobility in the description below. For breakpoints in combat abilities, i.e. TEC and STR, there is no solid formula. These are both dependent on the weapon you're using. As a general rule of thumb, increase the combat stat as high as your cost allows you to. Okay, we're reaching the home stretch, I promise. The final thing to talk about with tunes are the materials you'll need for them. For a quick overview of all the materials you currently have, go into your garage and open your item section. Then go to the third category down. The icon is a mini tuning pot. I actually just noticed that, how cute. Anyways, this contains all the tuning materials you currently own. The list is sorted by primary ingredients first, which are these cosmos. These determine the tier of tune you can do. Next up are common materials, which are base foundations for all tunes, low and high level alike. Then there are tertiary materials, which aren't universal, but rather specific for certain tunes. Finally, the rare materials. These are exclusive to high-level or combination tunes, and aren't easily found in normal scenarios. There are a ton of ways you can obtain materials for tuning in Cosmic Break Universal, some faster or easier than others. The most direct way is to go to the ground area, and then head towards this NPC. She is called Junkyard Woman, and you'll be using her services a lot. After going through her dialogue, tell her you want to exchange parts. In the following menu, you're greeted with all the spare, unused parts in your garage. You can exchange robot parts, weapons, and bulk amounts of existing tuning materials for points. These points can then be used to buy the tuning materials you'll need for the tunes you want. This way, materials can be directly bought in high quantities with enough points, and your spare useless parts are put to good use. The most important reason to use this service, however, is revealed when you enter the Cosmos pot without the materials you need for a tune. If you ever find you ran out of materials in the middle of your tuning, you can double-click the parts required to buy the exact amount you need to create it. This little safety net is a huge blessing and will save you many headaches in the future. And just like that, we've managed to pull off another tune without even having to visit the material store. Besides the store, the current fastest way to gain a variety of materials is through the Union Wars Arena. Be warned, though, that the Union Wars Arena rooms are full of other players for PvP battles. If you don't mind jumping into PvP without much knowledge of the game, this can still be a good way to get materials. A safer, more beginner-friendly way is Legion Wars. The second tab over, Legion Wars can host up to 3 players, while the other 12 are filled with NPC robots. This makes it a much more friendly environment for learning the mechanics of combat in the game while still collecting a decent amount of materials. Legion Wars also gives you orders, which award bonus materials for reaching milestones in the game mode. The easiest, Most passive way of obtaining mats is through the Quest Lost Planet Arcantus. Before going, you should always activate a drop rate ticket in your garage to increase your efficiency. I won't go into detail about everything involved in Arcantus. I may do that in a future video. What you'll be looking for are these metal-looking objects. Each one will contain one random low or medium level material. This is a slow but easy way to farm materials for tunes. With all that said, I think I've covered just about everything you need to know to begin learning how to tune. If you liked the video, consider subscribing. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Or if you think there's room for improvement, give it a dislike and tell me your opinions in the comments below. I hope you found value in this, and have a great rest of your day.